Okay, so I'd like to thank Jolanta for a really interesting presentation. For my part, in the remaining 20 minutes or so, I want to dig a little deeper into the areas of customer centricity and innovation, look at the challenges around that, and look at kind of three areas where Bizagi can help in our efforts there on collaboration, on reuse, on extensibility. And then we'll have hopefully a short amount of time at the end to do some questions and answers. There are many benefits to be gained from BPM. The potential of a good BPM platforming helping organizations in today's market overcome many challenges. Many of those benefits will be familiar that we see on the screen up there. Let's look briefly at a couple of major challenges. The ability to compete successfully for many organizations requires success on a huge range of fronts, but two of the most important can be summed up like this. Customer centricity. We have to put our customers, whether internal or external, at the heart of our business. And we have to innovate. We have to innovate constantly across our products and services. Customer centricity means taking fragmented, frustrating experiences and turning them into multi-channel experiences for our customers. It means taking KPI-driven analytics into analytics that drive understanding of our customers' behavior. It means moving from a one-size approach to fit all to a personalized approach for individual customers' context. It means breaking our organization down from siloed communication channels into orchestrated customer journeys. It means not using the online support to reduce our costs, but using online support to drive customer autonomy. And it means a marketing-owned customer now becomes a customer shared across our business, because customers expect personal service whenever and wherever they like, and if they don't get the service they need, the reality is the competition is just a mouse click or street corner away. So they're moving targets. And in order to meet those moving targets, organizations require greater levels of agility to service those customer needs. And agility is the key, not just a fundamentally different level of organizational agility and ability, but also an agility in the technical platforms that underpin the way we do processes. And for us, agility at the technical level is about the ability to reuse, the ability to make changes quickly, and the ability to extend and customize. For many organizations, customer centricity also means innovation, because all companies, regardless of size or industry, need innovation to grow and thrive. And there are two distinct forms of innovation. There's the innovation around our business model and technology innovation, and they're both closely related to the ideas of business processes. The business model innovation includes new markets or value propositions, new business processes, especially in the supply chain, as well as new target customers and markets. Technology innovation has the following levers: different offerings to end customers, different underlying process technologies, and different underlying enabling technologies. And both of these types of innovation are dependent upon each other. They require a collaboration between the business side of the organization and the IT side of the organization. They require a common language, and we believe that language is the language of business process. So if we were to sum up the two key ingredients that an organization needs, it would be business agility and business collaboration. A good BPM platform can improve the performance of the innovation process by supporting it with an effective, agile, process-centric approach. It can add value across the full innovation lifecycle, from finding ideas to evaluating them to launching new products and subsequent activities. So how can Bizagi help? Our one platform will take you all the way from diagramming your business processes, building your business process applications, and running them. So we've said that innovation requires collaboration between the business side of our organization and the IT side of our organization. And changing the way we run our business is complex. And some of that complexity has nothing to do with the technology. Many of the phrases on the screen here all come to play when we're trying to change ourselves as an organization, trying to shift the organizational culture. It can be tough at sometimes to translate the need for customer centricity and innovation into execution. Indeed, it might even involve changing the organizational structure itself. As we've discussed earlier, as an organization, we've both got to have agility in developing new processes, but this key thing about collaboration between both the business and the IT areas. So we have to deal with that inherent complexity even before we introduce the technology behind BPM. And because it's technology, it's got to be an IT thing, right? They understand the language of technology, XML, architecture, authentication, scalability. But our organization's got a business side as well that understand a language of business: profit, lean, customer-centric, speed to market. So IT have a language and business have a language. It's the beginnings, if you will, of a language barrier. So the majority of BPMS vendors then proceed to make that problem far, far worse. That language barrier is stronger. They attempt to solve the complexity problem by actually adding more complexity, by giving us huge, highly technical programming tools targeted directly at the IT community and requiring deep technical skill and detailed programming knowledge. They're so technical that even the process models themselves have more in common with a programming language than they do with a business process. So now the complexity of these tools has cemented that language barrier in place, and we've got a broken communication between the business side and the IT side. And more than anything else, it's this lack of collaboration that's going to stifle innovation and present the biggest challenge to the success of our BPM project. Bizagi is different. Bizagi is built from the ground up to be a business collaboration platform, not just a programming tool that can only be used by IT. It's built from the ground up to be a business collaboration platform to give you maximum reuse of your process assets, your sub-processes, your forms, your rules, and so on. And this is critical to achieving success in the long run, as we'll see a little later in our process landscape. At the heart of this collaboration, at the heart of this agility, is Bizagi's unique architecture, a layered architecture to support continuous improvement and agility. It's this BPM stack that helps to separate complex problems into separate logical layers that promote usability, flexibility, and business engagement. The Bizagi BPM stack consists of, at the top, the process layer. This is the business-owned part of the BPM system that allows users to define requirements, design processes, and generate comprehensive documentation and business rules. Below that, the separate data layer, owned by IT, built upon our unique virtualization technology, which helps to deal with the project complexities by removing data from process discussions. The data layer enables entity and data interaction definitions, serving as a repository of business entities, business objects which are designed for reuse and improving the speed of development. At the bottom we have our enterprise layer, owned by IT, and this transparently manages the way data is accessed via our virtualization technology, allowing the BPMS to reach out and interact dynamically with any application, from back-office CRM and ERP to existing legacy systems, which has great benefits. Our process owner has faster engagement and collaboration for continuous improvement. The folks who build our applications, the business analysts and the process designers, they get faster, simpler development with a huge amount of reuse and transparency. It gives our executives a lower cost of ownership, an ability to scale quickly across their process landscape, and an improved resilience. For our end users, it lets them work on processes that are easy to understand and provide access to mission-critical data on the desktop and any of their mobile devices. So to revisit our earlier picture, we now have this. The language barrier has gone, and we've got collaboration between the business community and the IT community. And it's that collaboration which will enable us to drive innovation. When it comes to agility, we identified two crucial aspects: reuse and extensibility. Let's take a look at reuse. It's hugely important to the long-term success of our BPM journey. As we move further and further into automating processes, we want to be able to see a reduction in both the cost and the effort of our automation. And that Bizagi BPM stack, built on that shared data model and virtualization, provides huge opportunities for reuse. And as the graph shows, removing those constraints around data sharing and enabling reuse enables significant savings in both cost and effort as we cover more processes. So reuse is hugely important, and that begins at the process level itself. We want to be able to make use of sub-processes. We want to be able to have reusable sub-processes. Here, for example, we can configure sub-processes not just to be specific, embedded to a particular parent, but reusable across all of our process repository. We also support multiple and transactional sub-process patterns as well. We said that Bizagi has a very unique architecture with a separate data layer, and that separate data layer again is crucial to us reducing the cost and the effort of our automation journey. The business entities, the objects that we design for our business processes, the data that they represent, indeed which system that data actually resides on, what specific forms we may have developed for customers, business rules, queries. We want to be able to reuse them as we move from process to process. So our first mortgage application process, where we develop the customer business entity, our next process might well be the loan process, and we can instantly reuse that customer entity straight out of the box without having to design it again. That list of cost centers, for example, that we have on our first process, by making that a reusable business object, we can use that again and again in all subsequent processes, including the localization, including any specific business rules that we might have built around that particular business entity. Business rules themselves need to be able to be shared amongst business processes. Yes, we can have some business rules that are specific to business processes. Here in the purchase request example, we have a set authority business rule that's just specific. It's the only place we need to use that is our purchase request process. Our business rules policies can be versioned and deployed separately to our business processes and can also be maintained by our end users. So when the values change, we don't have to come back and rebuild and redeploy our processes again, but we can declare a whole set of business rules and policies to be global across all of our repository. And we can have global vocabulary definitions as well, and libraries of commonly used business rules. Our catalog of external systems isn't specific to any one particular process. Unlike many other vendors where we get into a spaghetti BPM scenario, because so many of these system connections, so many of these data connections are tied directly to the forms, are tied directly to the rules, here we can develop a separate catalog of all of the system endpoints that we connect to, and those can be reused throughout our business process journey. So it's hugely important, this idea of reuse. And it plays back to the idea of agility. We cannot be an agile organization where we want to make quick changes to our processes in response to kind of business demands if we're having to unpick, if we're having to develop again from scratch. We want to be able to reuse as much as we possibly can. In addition to reuse, agility is also dependent upon extensibility. How can we customize the platform? How can we change the platform? One of the most important areas usually for customization is the user interface. Bizagi's user interface is built upon the concept of widgets, the building blocks, if you will, of our user interface. And we can extend the range of widgets available to us in our form designs. We'll have a look at a complete online widget designer that we provide, and we're able to download and install community widgets direct from our widget exchange, from the form designer, or just going to the website directly. These are built on industry standards, HTML5, jQuery, and CSS3. A good example of widgets, going back to the old mutual case study, would be what we call the rainbow screen on their client services dashboard. And right in the center of that, what they needed was the ability to provide the branch advisor with a single point through which they could guide the customer through a variety of different outcomes. So we were able to deliver the widgets for the control icons, if you will, that you see there in the center of the dashboard for advice and sales, money out, change status, inquiry and information, complaints and feedback, all of which then lead into other particular process journeys. Anyway, so let's take a look at the widget editor itself in action. So the Bizagi form designer already comes with a great range of out-of-the-box widgets, buttons, date controls, combos, a whole range of controls to deal with files and document templates, even geolocation controls. But invariably we're going to be developing business process applications where we want to enrich and customize the experience for our users with new controls. From our form designer we can go directly to our community, the Bizagi widget exchange, to see what widgets our community have developed. A webcam, pie chart, password strength validator, and we can click on the details and see how that widget would behave, not just in the form designer but also how it would look at runtime as well. And by clicking on the install button, that'll install the widget directly in to our form design environment. But we want to be able to build our own widgets as well. We want to be able to extend the user interface. In the case of the previous rainbow screen, we want to build our own custom widgets with our own logic and our own business needs. So for that, Bizagi provides an online widget editor that allows us, assuming we have the knowledge of HTML5 and jQuery and CSS3, the programming knowledge, we can extend and build our own widgets. For looking at the widget editor, why don't we take a look at this Google Maps nearby places control over in the widget editor here. We can load up any widget that we've previously used and saved. And we'll load up the Google Maps one here. And once we've got an account at bizagi.com, we just need to open up the widget editor URL in any browser, and that allows us to edit and test our widgets very easily and very simply. Our widgets, indeed all of our user interface, is mobile ready, and when we're building our own widgets we have the ability to customize that behavior, not just for the desktop but also phone devices and tablet devices as well. The editor's got IntelliSense, and it's also got access for us as programmers to access our internal API, to interact with the business data from a process, to look at localization, and also to add trace and debugging information as we're developing our widget. One of the great things the widget editor lets us do is actually see and test how that widget would look and feel and behave in all of the types of devices. So here on the desktop device we can see how the widget behaves. We can provide test scenarios where we provide a range of representative information to test out certain aspects of the widget perhaps. And we can also have access to the web console and any other particular information that we're tracing out to logs through that console as well. So we can see how the widget behaves at runtime. Increase that a bit more, maybe 500, just to make sure that things are looking good. Indeed they are. And also now switch over to a tablet device, and if we've got any particular customizations that we've developed particular for the tablets, we can see how they would work. Change to landscape mode to make sure our rendering's correct, and also over to the phone device as well, landscape mode, back to portrait mode, and again any particular customizations we're making for phones we'll be able to test very easily. And when we're ready, when we're happy with the widget works, we can just download that, install that into Bizagi Studio, and that will appear in our form designer just like any other control with whatever the properties are that we've developed for that particular widget. In the end result, we can then incorporate these widgets, extend our user interface, and provide our users with a very rich experience in terms of the user interface and how they interact with our business processes. Here in that Customer 360 example we were showing, now we, not just by searching on the customer name can we see the customer details, all of their previous transactions and order history, but now we can also see where they're located, and we've got the full interactivity of a Google map. And we can even do nearby searches for nearby places of interest around the customer as well. And so to our conclusion. And I think the quote there from Ernst & Young is quite applicable to a lot of the topics that we've seen both in the Old Mutual presentation and that we've covered here with Bizagi. BPM technology should be the enabler of process improvement, and it should help us to reduce business costs. And our experience of the market shows that whilst other BPM systems continue to merely address the IT side of the organization, scaling your BPM efforts and cost reduction becomes almost impossible to achieve. As your automation journey continues, it gets more and more bogged down in the technical complexity and what we call the spaghetti BPM. So we've seen that in order for our organization to think about and become more customer-centric, we require the agility of reuse, the agility of extensibility. But that also requires innovation, and this cannot happen without business and IT collaboration. Bizagi has a unique architecture that brings both business and IT together and sparks collaboration. Both sides speak the BPM language, and business process improvement is achieved with the clean separation of both the process layer, the data layer, and the enterprise layer, providing maximum reuse of your process assets and less, not more, complexity as you advance forwards. So with Bizagi, process owners can increase productivity and reduce business costs and achieve those product and service improvements towards a truly customer-centric organization. I'd like to thank you for your time. Just to point you towards our website at www.bizagi.com. There you can download all of our products and access the complete product documentation. You'll find free online training, a whole selection of white papers, and also videos as well. But for now, I think we're able to take some Q and some A.